Recognition of who we are and the powers inherent in our beingness come from our beloved Creator of all that is. This we must remember at all times throughout our weeks and throughout our days. Why? One may ask. Because we are significantly more powerful than we remember or often acknowledge. As humankind, we were invested with tremendous powers, and sadly, we have been programmed to think much less of ourselves, to consider ourselves meek, shameful, compliant, and dependent on a system, as slaves. Creator endowed us with tremendous capabilities, with free will, and an opportunity to self correct where there has been error. In truth, when we recognize our strength, coupled with humility, this is the moment we truly recognize our sovereignty, our dignity, and the gifts we have been given by Creator to use for the highest good. Let it be so, and so it is.
Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure.
My name's Ron Vroman, the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. With me this evening is William, Charlie, and Brandon. Would you guys introduce yourselves? Ladies first.
My name's Charlie. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, kind of a master of all trades and master of none.
I'm William Appel. I'm with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I deal with the technology, the website, TV shows, that stuff.
My name is that I use is Brandon Wingerter, and I am newly young white orange beard man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly and action committee member.
That was good. Yep. Okay. This was occasioned by a while back, a founder died, Roger, and we had like 11 boxes full of stuff from Roger. And it was sitting forever at Cynthia's, and they finally got it sorted out. And they dumped 3 of those boxes onto me, and I'm so glad they did. We got a Black's Law first edition, and that's rather nice. I haven't used it yet, but I have a subject I'm going to look up. And in that material of Rogers was a lot of stuff from the Republic. He was in that pretty far, as was Ray and a lot of other people. A lot of people got burned by that. Tim Turner went to jail. Things were not good as a result of what they did. Could have been, but it wasn't. Um, and in Rogers' papers was a lot of stuff from the Republic. And a lot of people, me included, think that the Republic would have made it had they done their paperwork right. They didn't have a solid foundation, and they couldn't stand in the correct jurisdiction, and that caused the major trouble. I think that Schaefer Cox was basically the same thing. And I think Billy Faust down in Arizona was altogether too smart for him, so they just killed him in his driveway. Those are things I think. But the story this evening is on paperwork I found in Rogers' papers that I'd like to talk to you guys about. And you've heard it a lot of times, nomenclature, knowing the parts and the name of those parts that make up the whole. That's what it is. Supposing you're looking at an M1 rifle, a Garand, I date myself. You have to know it. You have to be able to field strip it, take it down, clean it, know everything about it, know what's wrong with it if something's wrong, put it all back together, and it has to function. You have to know. You can't pretend it. Your friend can't do it for you. You just got to know. So, some of the things that I think you really have to know is when you see Articles of Confederation, that's an error. That's a mistake. It's maybe laziness. I don't know. And they write it with a big A for articles. This is the deal. The name of that bunch was a confederation and perpetual union. That's who they were. And they wrote articles for themselves so they would have their rules written down and everybody could abide by the rules. That was the outfit that they had. Then they named that outfit the United States of America with the capital T. And anytime you see something different from that, it's not us. It's not the United States of America. It's not the several states assembled in union. It is something else. It's a fiction that's riding on the back of what is real. So there's only the United States of America with the proper capitalization and the, with the small t, United States, which the assembly in the Confederation and Perpetual Union invented when they wrote the Constitution. So their name was the United States of America. That group wrote a constitution. So that constitution is apostrophe S on America, Constitution. Whenever you see Constitution of the United States of America, and these folks, can you see that? Wrote it with a small u and a small s for United States. So it's Constitution for of America because United States is just an adverb, I guess. No, America's a noun, so it's an adjective. And that's not it. So right away in the first shot off the bat for the Confederation, for the Republic USA, they didn't have their nomenclature right. So the heading on it is wrong. Then you come down, it says Declaration of Independence, 1776 is the first organic law establishing autonomous colonies and the beginning of a republican form of government. And they put a capital R on Republican. You can't, it's a small r. I made that mistake for a while too. Charlie caught me on it. We fixed it. Move on. But these guys have a large R, so that's not proper. That's an error. I read somewhere in paperwork like this, there isn't any errors. Somebody wanted it written exactly that way, or it would be written different. There isn't any errors. A small aside, you heard of the Brexit treaty in the UK where they're getting out of the European Union? Took them 2 years to do it, and all of the trouble they had and everything. I was watching some really knowledgeable people analyzing that document. And the guy said in like the third sentence, he says, "Why, this is not valid." Well, why is that? Well, the sentence that had the dates when it was going to start didn't have a period on it. So if there's no period on that sentence is still open. There's no date on this document. You, somebody knew that when they were writing it because the guy that was analyzing it knew it. And I think everybody that signed it knew it. So, anyhow, back to this thing. So, there's a mistake. Then in the last line, it says, by the people of the United States of America, and it's wrong again. It should be capital the United States of America. So in the first paragraph, that's actually a long sentence, there's like 4 mistakes in nomenclature. Then in the second paragraph, again, it says Articles of Confederation. Okay. Now, I don't know, maybe Charlie does, but I know it's a little a on articles. So it's the Articles for Confederation or of Confederation. There is a difference. I don't know it. I don't know enough about English to know that. But I know that this is wrong.
I have a copy right in front of me, Articles of Confederation, 1776. This is a university study edition. It says Articles of Confederation.
But do they say and perpetual union?
Let me look. Doesn't say it on the cover, so I'm surprised if it would be that. So it would say that on the cover, I would imagine. Let me look another place. Proceed. I'll see what I can find.
Okay. So it says Articles of Confederation 1777. Now that's got to be Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union is the second organic law established for colonies under Article 1 and Article 2 of the Articles. And again, they have a capital where I don't think one is supposed to be. For the people of the United States of America, and the capitalization is all wrong again. They're naming the people of what they named themselves in the Articles of the Confederation and Perpetual Union. It's not like so the Articles of Confederation is wrong again. Then you come down to the third one, and it says the Northwest Ordinance, which includes the Northwest Territories, is the third organic law under Article 11 of the Articles of Confederation. And again, they left off and perpetual union. And again, they spelled the United States of America with the wrong capitalization. But the thing that I want to get to on this, and this is Cheryl, are you listening? This is for you. The Northwest Ordinance, which includes the Northwest Territories, came into being through a treaty called the Treaty of Paris, 1783. I think that's what Cheryl wrote today. It's the Treaty of Paris, and that's about the time, maybe 1781. I don't remember. It's not a valid treaty. All you got to do is get it, start reading it, and as soon as you read it for 3 minutes and you know the Constitution and you know the Declaration of Independence, you know that that treaty was not a valid treaty, could not be. Fraud vitiates all contracts, partially or completely. And who's the only one that can be defrauded? People. People are the only ones with skin in the game. That's who they were defrauding. So I'll
just say, go ahead. I was just saying that I was looking here on the internet. It says, this looks like an original copy PDF. Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union between the states of, and then it has the states listed.
Yes, so, and if you go on down just a little bit, it names themselves.
Yes, it does. So Articles is all caps. Of Confederation is capital C. O, F, A, and D between each of them are capitals. Everything is in all caps except Confederation with a capital C and Perpetual Union, each with a capital beginning. Perpetual is capital P and Union is capital U. Everything else is all in caps, even the words between articles, Confederation, Perpetual Union, states, and everything else is all caps. Okay, so then, see here, where is it? Of course, okay, New Hampshire, Massachusetts Bay, Rhode Island, and Providence Plantations,
yes,
Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. And this is Williamsburg, printed by Alexander, can't read it here, Purdue, Purtle, P-U-R, I guess it's an L. Yeah, Purdy, P-U-R-D-I.
thank you, Charlie.
You're welcome.
Another home run. So you got to know the nomenclature and you got to know the names of what all the pieces are. So when you get to reading this nomenclature, they wrote the Constitution in a particular way. And so every time they alter, amend, or add a state or lose a state, it changes the contract. Brandon's fallen asleep. Yeah, you are. So they alter the contract by adding a state and losing a state or making an amendment. So the Constitution, the first one, there's lots of them. One of them had to go to England, one had to go to France, one had to go to the Dutch on Manhattan Island. That was Holland. Uh, all of that stuff made up all these different constitutions. Then they amended it with the Bill of Rights, and that made the Constitution prior an artifact. It has no validity. It's just an artifact. It's keep in a safe place, but it's not valid. So then they add 11, 12, and 13 as amendments, and then they add on all of these states, Vermont and Rhode Island and Providence Plantation came back into the Union because it was out of the Union for Washington's inauguration, and they came back. So there was a perpetual union. The perpetual union added states and added amendments. The final amendment was 1819 when they passed 13 titles of nobility. That one's got all kinds of stuff running around on it. I don't know how much of it's true and how much of it's not, but I do know they went to a tremendous amount of effort to remove it from the database or from the memory of people or whatever. Didn't work. There, it's color of law. You can't change it. It's just got to go back to what's correct. Now, all of these people that were doing all of these things did their final thing in 1859 when they brought Oregon on as the 33rd state. The whole thing blew up in 1860 when South Carolina left. There was no longer a perpetual union. How much validity is that within the the framework of what those folks were dealing with. I don't know. But as soon as South Carolina left, they no longer had a confederation and perpetual union, which is what the creator of the United States was. You can see it right on the document Charlie was reading to you. Those guys assembled together as the original states. The several states created the United States of America. You can see it right in front of you. So they created it. Therefore, the law of creation is the states are the boss, however many of them they are.
So
And any
when South Carolina left, what would that trigger in Congress? The remaining Congress. Would there even be a Congress at that point?
Default.
I don't know. Uh, I can't see as it would make any difference at all.
I do.
What?
All right. All right. You have a contract linking all the states together in the United States of America. By God, one defaults out of that contract. That whole contract is defaulted upon.
So then we would have evidence of a new contract in 1860 to show 32 states.
Correct.
And we have not seen any of those contracts.
That's
Nope.
not a quorum either, and you have to have a quorum to be a Congress.
They had a quorum. South Carolina even didn't change anything except for South Carolina.
Exactly. But then there would be evidence in Congress showing that South Carolina left and then a new contract was generated by a quorum.
Correct.
And there's no evidence of this.
Not that I know of. They're good at
If
hiding
anybody's
evidence.
out there that knows it, tell us.
But I think it's really simple. If you get an assembly of people, and we know that we are Article 1, Section 1, so we are the people assembled on Oregon. So if we go over to Pennsylvania and do the same thing, and Texas, and go around to all of the other 32 states and get them to have an assembly and do the steps to make the assembly function properly, then we would have the 33 states, their Congress assembled together. That would make the United States of America all over again, and then you would have law. Until the states do that, we aren't.
That would be federal law versus state law. State law exists without the other states, right? Each state has its own law.
Yeah. But they have to be compatible. And they are.
Bankrupt as well.
Republic.
Who's bankrupt?
The states.
The corporations that call themselves states of are in bankruptcy.
Correct.
Oregon, the state, is not in bankruptcy.
No, it is not. Okay, there's a thing in corporate law that says if you have a corporation, you have to have a bailee. And the bailee has to hold the keys to the corporation in the old explanation of what his job was. The guy that was in charge of all the keys of all of the corporation was the bailee. He was not necessarily the president or treasurer or anything, but he held the records. They won't even tell me who the bailee for state of Oregon is. Just ask them a simple question. No, they won't tell you.
They're pirates.
Yes, they absolutely are.
I mean, they act like pirates, so they must be pirates. Because anybody that's legit is presented with a question of authenticity would present that.
Yes.
They expect us to when we're pulled over for driving and they want to see our permission to drive, we're supposed to present it, right?
Our
And I guess if
judiciary,
you have that permission, you have to do it per the contract.
our judiciary system on Oregon refuses to provide their bona fides. They are not legit.
Yep, absolutely not legit.
Even the clerk at the municipal court won't tell you his last name.
There you go. They act like thieves, right? Because a thief's not going to tell you his name. He's not going to pull out any kind of evidence showing that he belongs there.
No.
So they act exactly like thieves. They are thieves. They're pirates.
Yes. Does the fugitive have anything to say? Do you want to unmute your telephone that always gives feedback?
No, I'm enjoying it.
Well, we enjoy your company, so I hope you had something to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank
I think we
you.
got a show underway.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up. And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.